When Sabrina first asked me to read this very personal letter that Hayden had written about Garrett, I immediately, without hesitation, said yes, of course. And within about 3 seconds, I started having major self-doubt. How am I supposed to capture the meaning of this letter? How am I supposed to keep my composure, reading about not only a best friend to my husband, Driver, and I, but also the love of Sabrina's life? But I knew I would do it, and I knew I could do it because of Garrett. Most of you here probably know him as Officer Hull, but to me and my family, we knew him as Garrett, the big guy, G-Stat. We've been best friends with Garrett and Sabrina for over 15 years, and one thing I learned and knew about the big guy was he was never scared. So I'm confident he is cheering me on and keeping my weak knees strong so I can deliver this beautiful letter written by his amazing daughter Jordan, representing for her and Tristan what a legacy and a hero their dad was. What makes a legacy? I've heard the word thrown around in many conversations as of late about the legacy Garrett leaves behind. While I have no doubt he leaves one, I've struggled to find a definition that seems fitting of what Garrett's legacy truly is. If you'll allow, I'd like to define it as best as I know how. Part of Garrett's legacy is the part everyone knows a little bit about. His life as a Fort Worth police officer, the 17 years he put into the department. I cannot speak on everything he did for this city, for its people, and for his fellow officers, because I didn't see that side of him often. I do feel secure in saying this, however. He gave everything he had, every single time he stepped foot into the city. Whether in uniform or plain clothes, Garrett did his job the best he could. Saying anything more, I fear I may be stepping over my bounds. Those of you in my Blue family who worked with him know what kind of officer he was. You carry his legacy. I can't speak to the legacy he leaves as a father and as a good man. Garrett was the kind of man who never let us, being my mother's sister and I, touch door handles. He was also the type of man who pretended to see something on the ground so that when we would look, he would throw our unsuspecting selves into the pool. The duality of man, I suppose. I can't speak to the fact that Garrett was the type of man who came to nearly every single one of my sports games, banquets, plays, and musicals. He also never missed a birthday of mine, ever. I can speak to the fact that he never left in the morning without kissing my mom goodbye and saying he loved her. That he picked up gifts for us, mostly for Mom because he knew it was her love language, just because he knew it would make us happy. I can speak to the legacy of a hero. Indulge me for a moment as I briefly share a story of him and I. When I was a young girl, about 11 I think, Garrett had taken me to see the new Spider-Man film that had come out, one that I had begged to see. I was raving about it in the passenger seat of our Yukon, excited and enthralled by the film and the world of powers and fun that were shown to me. Garrett laughed and said something along the lines of, "Batman's better." I was silent. I then explained sheepishly, I had never seen any Batman films. I was met with Garrett's unusual, "What? No, that's not true." It was, in fact. But no matter what, he always seemed to voice his disbelief in spite of what we told him. Anyway, he rushed us home, sprinted through the garage with me, and set me on the couch, instructing me not to move as he put in a DVD. That night, he showed me both Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, one of which remains steadily in my top 5 favorite films of all time. Then the next day, he took me to the theater to see the last installment of the series, and I was hooked on heroes from then on. The point of that short tale was to illustrate 2 things. First of which is the type of father Garrett was to me. The type to let me stay up past my bedtime, to dive into a world of heroes fighting the evil and corruptness that rises from the shadows. I now know it was the same life he led. The type of dad who continued to share my love of these things with me as I grew, binge watching shows, listening to my rants about story arcs and other stuff I knew he didn't know or care about. But he cared that I was excited. He always listened. He always let me stay out past 12 to see the midnight premiere of all the Marvel movies. He was the best. I also share that story because Garrett was a hero. He did everything a hero does in all the movies and comics he and I loved together. In fact, Garrett knew this. He even called himself the Incredible Hulk. Believe me, he was. He was strong and sure, and nothing could stop him. He was brave like Captain America. He was funny and kind like Spider-Man. He was dutiful and determined like the Punisher. And he was stealthy and well-trained like Batman. He was more than all of them, though. He was better than these stories we read or watched. He gave his everything to his family and his city. He made sure we never went without. He cared more deeply than I thought imaginable. He loved with his whole heart. He always put everyone first. He protected and he served. So what makes a legacy? I can't be sure. I can, however, tell you what makes Garrett's legacy. It's the lives he saved. It's the people he put away that made the streets a little bit safer. It's the teams he worked with. It's the stories that will be passed around the department. Oh, this one time, Garrett Hull. It's the life he laid down for his brothers. But it's also the times he threw us in the pool. It's the nights we spent watching the same Batman movies over and over again. It's the dance he shared with my mom on their last date. It's the way he never failed to call his parents every single night. It's the birthdays he never missed. It's the gifts he gave just because. It's the times he wrestled with his nephews. It's every hug and kiss, and I love you, that he never got to give, or never forgot to give. It's every, hey, I'm just checking in on you call. It's knowing I could call him at any moment and he would be there and have my back and keep me safe. In short, it's the heroic and serving life he lived. We all get to carry that legacy on through the choices we make and the lives we lead. Let's do him proud.